iRacing?
iRacing handles it all. It's
Okay.
it's
Okay.
absolutely intuitive and easy, and we've got a really good relationship with iRacing. Hosting a session like this costs 50 cents, 75 cents. It's a couple hours at a track. You can put as many people as you want. You can make it a
Oh, did I
tournament.
lose you?
Yeah, whenever I switch screens, it usually disconnects.
Okay.
I should be back, but yeah, it's
Okay. Yeah, you're back. Yeah, you're back now.
yeah. I mean, the session algorithm is they've got server space available whenever you want it, so you can uh, create a session earlier or later or right at that moment. Uh, Doug Atkinson, our sim racing chair, uh, he sets up all the sessions for all the races, all the practices, all the DEs. I do the individual one-on-ones that I myself am running. Same thing with the rest of my instructors. If they host a session like we're doing now with one of their students, they host a session like this. So
Oh, okay.
they can set it up whatever car, whatever track, however they want to do it. And a lot of the other zones are working on different tracks, and they're working in different cars. So they try to run with where we're going to be if that student's looking for that. And trust me, some of these guys that are looking for a one-on-one session are looking to knock a tenth of a second off a minute and a half lap. That's brutally quick. And they're just trying to find that extra little bit in this corner or that corner, and they're really, really going at the fine parts of it. And they start comparing analytics, and we can look at brake threshold, how much you're using your brake. Are you dragging it in this corner? Is your weight circle correct on that tire, or do you need to lean on it a little more? And some guys are, do I make a left at the end of the straightaway or right? So
Right.
we get
Yes.
everything.
Okay. Yeah, but a few weeks ago, I started using the VRS.
Oh, great.
Yeah, mostly for just the telemetry and capturing the data and analyzing, some of the dynamics, and also with a couple of buddies, we ended up we swap stuff back and forth.
Okay.
So, we'll spend each time on like Suzuka or something like that, and then we'll check each other's to as a reference point, say, hey, you're breaking a lot more over here, or you seem to be pitching in a lot harder over here, and kind of starting to do some analysis. Or I would never have thought of doing this corner like this, or applying that much throttle that much early. And so it's been a interesting process, us just comparing against each other what we're doing independently and what we can learn from each other, and it's been pretty useful that way.
Yeah, like you said earlier. It's come a dramatic distance from the beginning of sim racing to where we're at now. It's just absolutely incredible. I don't see you as on the session. Did you click join, or did it just start to go there?
My password and just sat there and then clicked join.
Okay. There you go. I can see you're getting on there.
Can you see me coming in?
Yep. I was just so impressed 10 years ago when I signed into iRacing. It was just to see an actual track scan map of Lime Rock. And I had just a little bitty video controller. I wasn't trying to drive the thing. I was just, you know, is it off camber here? Where's a good turn-in point? What will be a good access? Or, an apex? Do I treat Big Bend as a double apex? Do I treat it as a single? It's not that I wanted to impress my instructor. It's that I wanted to make sure that I myself worked on what I needed to work on, and that was learning to get the most out of my car versus learning the track. I had walked it a dozen times, and it was so remarkably close that I was blown away. This isn't your kid's video game. It's come a long way.
Yeah, when people, I kind of describe it to people. Like most people have played like Gran Turismo or Forza, and it's like those play like video games, and once you move up to like iRacing, it plays like a simulator.
Yeah.
That's the fundamental difference there. One really is, as much as fun as they are, they do play more like an arcade type game versus being a simulator per se.
Yeah, and it's a ball to go drift around corners all day long in whatever hot rod you can build. But if you really want to actually learn some racecraft, and the other thing that this company iRacing has going for it is, I mean, the whole way that you can do a hosted session, you can post a league up in there, you can automatically generate, all these sanctioned bodies and get to work, and the dynamics are so real. The first time I went to a corner, I couldn't tell how fast I was going. I turned the wheel, the car went dead straight. I slammed on the brake, the car went dead straight. I smashed into a wall, and I sat back and went, wow, that's correct.
Yeah,
that would have happened
yeah.
in real life. This is going to be different. So yeah, it was a big move from everything else. But I know you've been on here a while, but I want to just double check something I do with absolutely everybody, and I just want to make sure, and I treat everybody, whether they're a 20-year professional driving instructor in sim and real life or not, I go through a couple of things to make sure. So
Sure.
before I get in the car, I go and look at the options page on the upper right, and I open that up. And on the first tab for drive, for the steering pedals and gearbox, I don't worry about the gearbox because this is all just paddle shift. But I'll do my pedals up and down and make sure that all of the lines, the LED fills all the way to the top, all the way to the
Yep.
bottom, no dead zones. I turn my wheel, I've got it set to 900 degrees. It moves exactly 1-to-1 what I can see on screen. And
Yep.
I double check that. So many people will, me included, had older spring pedals, and they'd get cat hair in them. And I'd look at my throttle input, and the thing would be jagged all the way to the top. And I'd say, "What is going on?" And I'd clean it out, and all of a sudden it was smooth. And those were huge issues that people don't look at every time. Every time you fire it up, the first time you get in the car, I go to that like a flight checkoff, and it makes a huge difference
Okay.
knowing that you're right.
Yeah, I know my throttle has been starting to act up, so I've been meaning to dismantle it and clean it out. Because sometimes I find it ends up revving a little bit on its own. So
Gotcha.
usually I give it a little flick, and it settles down.
Give it a
So
little
that's
spritz and
that's
it cleans up, yeah.
yeah.
Are you on spring pedals, or do you have a load force brake? What are you running?
No, I'm just it just spring the Logitech G, what's it, 920 system.
Oh, okay, yeah, the 29 or the
Yeah,
two,
290 or 920, whatever,
okay, whatever that
whatever
is.
it is. Yeah,
Okay, so you're still spring pedals. So the biggest
yeah,
concern you're going to have is not being able to put the weight into the pedal. It's just calculating distance on a
yeah,
potentiometer. So what
exactly.
they've done is on that same page, the second thing down that says brakes, your force factor should be somewhere around 1.6. Somewhere around there. It should only be set to 0 if you've got an actual load cell.
Yeah, so that's under pedals.
No, it's under, it's on that same page, but if you look to the left, steering is the first tab.
Oh it's 1.8.
Okay, then you're probably fine. What that does is that acts like a analog taper to your digital potentiometer. So in other words,
Okay,
if you want that brake to start locking up towards the end of the throw or the beginning of the throw, that's your force factor, and you can roll that around to get it to lock up where you like, because that's muscle memory at that point, but it's not muscle memory with pressure. It's muscle memory
right.
with position.
Distance. Okay.
Yeah, and that's a big issue. The biggest step anybody can make is going out and buying a $100 Ricmotech brake cell mod for their Logitech pedals, and all of a sudden the thing's rock hard. It now takes pressure. You move that back down to 0, and you have a whole lot easier time holding a brake.
Right.
The sim is
Okay.
not easy, and a potentiometer is going to work. But it's going to be a handicap in braking that you're going to notice as you get more and more comfortable getting the car to get where you want.
Okay.
Almost all the way to the right, go to sound. It's fourth or fifth tab over.
Yep, I'm there.
And if your car in iRacing is louder than our Discord chat, just turn the master down a little bit if you need. But the biggest issue is people's engines are louder than their tires.
Yeah, I have engines down to 14 and tires almost the whole way up.
Okay, then you're probably in good shape because the tactical feedback that you're going to get from your wheel and the auditory that you're going to get from the shh sound, which is your tires coming into grip, once they get on to that threshold, you're going to hear that sound get louder. It doesn't necessarily change in pitch, but the volume gets louder just before they let go, and then you hear the real screech. But you can get it to the end of that. That's where your tire hold is. That's where your maximum grip is. So when you're looking at traction circle to get the front left to dig in, you're going to hear that shh build up a bit. If it builds too much, you got to remember where your fingertips were feeling that and where your ears were hearing that and go, okay, I'm at the limit of my front left. And pretty soon this all sort of sits down, and that's what makes you quicker. I mean, being consistent is great, but this is what the car tells you in sim that you won't get from your butt. And that sucks, but, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've naturally increased it just to listen to all the scrubbing of the tires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect, man. You're easiest so far. Okay, here. I'm going to jump into my car and recenter it here. Okay, and what I'd love for you to do is have you jump into my car. You already know the controls for fast forward and all that stuff, and click cockpit view or some other view that makes you comfortable. But cockpit view will put you right where you are in the car.
Okay, I'm in the cockpit.
Okay, so that's left, that's right. We're on live instead of replay.
Yeah, it's on replay.
Okay, so 2 buttons to the right of that will be a fast forward double button.
Yep.
Just click that a couple times till it says live. And then instead of saying replay, it's going to say live.
So which one am I clicking? The one with the double fast forward?
Correct.
Oh, there we go. I've got it.
Okay. And your cockpit view and you're live. So that's left. That's right.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks with a lag. I'll be going around this corner like, you're not turning into, oh, okay, we're at a different corner.
Yeah.
It's just easy to do. Anything about this car that you want to know or don't know?
Actually, I've only ever done a handful of laps with this car around here.
Okay.
And it's probably one of the cars I've probably used the least. So I generally have a bit of a feel for it.
Okay.
It has like the little lights when it starts to lock up. It tends to operate well under high speeds. I don't know anything else I should know about it.
Well, really just, I mean, those eyebrow lights are probably the most important to get a feel of the car. From the inside out, they turn yellow. That's your rear brake ABS. And from the outside in are purple lights, and that's your front ABS. So you might get 2, 1, 4, whatever those lights going, but they'll tell you which tire is locking and when.
Okay.
Under
okay.
braking, you can get into 2 yellow lights just happy as can be. I tend to put my brake bias really far rearward, but that's a comfort factor that I like. So I'll get a good straight going, and I'll lean on the brakes pretty good, and I'll get 1 to 2 flickering yellow lights of rear lockup, and it won't be locked up. They're just about to start to. If you hit the 3rd light, you're locking up. But the flickering on 1st and 2nd is a really optimal braking point, and that's a muscle memory you'll build in. I don't like to lock up the fronts because that's how I do my steering.
Yeah.
I,
So the
I
rears are the lights inside out,
correct.
and the fronts are outside in. Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
Yes, and if the entire thing flashes blue, that's your that's your traction control, and that's a engine
Okay.
limiting traction control. So
Yeah.
my
Okay.
traction control on this car works backwards. Like the GT4, 1 is almost no traction control, 0 is off, 12 is high traction control. This car is backwards, and you've got two traction controls. I map them the same because I'm not advanced enough to play with those and tailor them to my needs. But the higher the number, the less control. So
Okay.
I'll tend to run those. You can do it through the black box, but you can run those pretty high up. I probably run mine at 6, and that's not too bad. A lot of the setups there that they tout, people are running it in 1 and 2, but that takes over too quick for me. I like to let the car sit a little bit on the edge, and I bring my brake pressure back. I'm running the baseline setup. I just took some fuel out because all of our races are limited to 50% fuel
Okay.
of the car, which forces us to do a pit stop.
Yep. Okay. And so you run the baseline, then you just adjust the brake bias to the back a bit for this car.
Yeah, I'm running. I think it's 55 straight. But yeah, we'll grab a setup in a second here. But so you're in. We're live. You won't see half the stuff on my dash because they limit it to the in-car view. But
Right.
so be it. That is it. I'm gonna roll out here real quick. I know you know the course, but just for video sake and everything else, we'll show you where I've been putting this thing. And
Yeah.
I like the car, I really do, but everything grows. It takes a while. It really does.
Yeah.
We'll just start on the crest here. I got all my braking done before that because, as you know, it starts to lighten up here. And if you're not slowed in time, you're not going to get weighed onto the front right to get this corner done. It's gonna bite you. You're going off track somewhere.
Yep.
But I come in really early. There's a smooth spot right there between the grass. You've got that notch cut out.
Yep.
I stay right along this line. And it will track out a little bit. I leave my wheel the exact same radius most of the time. This is all done by throttle steering. And I'll let it come back in over the white line here, right to the tip of that grass. And the back end's going to carry me all the way out to here, but in that same route, I'm going all the way to the other side of the track now without having to change a thing. It just shoots me there. I'm going to aim at the end of the tire line. When I get to about here, probably before it, I've got to get from 5th gear to 4th gear to 3rd gear.
Okay. So you do come down to 3rd on the
I
car.
do. Well, it depends on your setup too.
Yeah.
There's a good chance you're geared higher or lower. There's
You're going the
lots of
wrong way.
different gearing options, but I'm running just high downforce baseline. I don't mess with the setup. I really just rather work the car to its favor. Setups aren't that big of a thing. It'll make a pro a 1/10 of a second faster than another pro, but it's not going to take a new guy and make him 5 seconds quicker. Learning the car is going to make him 5 seconds quicker, and then you can play with whatever setup you want. But everybody lives by setups. I just tend not to agree. But I'll go all the way down to 4th. I will click it into 3rd here, but I'm going to shoot right in between the old tarmac and the new tarmac. And as that gets down to its bare minimum right here, that's my apex point. In 3rd, it will track all the way out, but you're on gas well before that apex. But I'll let it track all the way out. I'll grab that runoff, and you'll want to hear it go. It tells you put your car all the way to that side. So easy not to know how wide your car is or how skinny it is, because you can get right to a line. If you're missing 2 inches every apex, you're missing 2 inches every apex.
Yep.
And when you get to the front of the pack, that 2 inches is going to make the difference. This is a dab of brake, but mostly I coast. I'll get into 5th gear here. And the line down into this, if you can shoot right in between these patches of extra tarmac on here, there's a rain gutter on the left that gets a little bit smooth, and just to the left of that, the coping drops off. And I missed that, but I'll come all the way into this, and what I'm looking for is my straight line at the end of here where it straightens out. Right about here is a braking spot. There's no really good braking markers on this track. It's all feel. But because you've got the compression coming up, you can leave it and brake a little bit and then get on it really nice and strong here, and then get all the way off. From here, I'm trail braking. And trail braking in this car is like 5%. I mean, just weight of your shoe. Nothing great, because that'll slow you down.
Yeah, and on the top of 4, you do brush brakes in this car.
I do, but I tend to just lift, click it into 5th, and go, because that lift is enough to get the weight shift onto my front right to dig into that corner. But it's knowing that your car has gotten sat down and you can make the corner. Until it sits down, you're not going to make it, and you're going to either have to trail brake a little bit, or you're going to have to steer a little harder and get some counter steer. It's easiest just to lift, let it sit, and then continue. I sort of pedal it like a car, you know. 4th, no gas, 5th, gas again. Just sits it down for that second. Depends on the gearing, but I will go all the way down to 1st gear for this corner. But I hate to get on the brake during this flat spot. It doesn't help rotate the car as much as I just want to keep the thing smooth. But you can get on the gas way back in here. And it does shoot you pretty darn straight out here. And you do sacrifice a little bit of that. But what Liam taught us, and I thought it was great, was look at the flag station, the blue flag station up ahead. That's where we're aiming. And I never noticed that till he told me. And he said, it's flattest part of the track. Look for that one, come alongside of it, look for the next one, there it is over the hill, aim for that one. And it straightens out the track, and it puts you at a level track spot. And I didn't know that. I thought that was a great example he showed us. I tend to count the telephone poles coming into this section. And I try to get my brake, hard on brake, at the 2nd telephone pole. So I'll count from the end. So there's the one at the end. This second one that I'm coming up on right here. That's my brake spot. And I tend to only do 30-40% brake. I'll be in 5th gear in this setup. I'll come along the inside, but I'm just threshold braking. The whole left side of my car is loaded. It wants to go. I'll get down into 4th, and I'll be back on full throttle here. And I'll occasionally run up on this curve because it doesn't hurt the pitch of the car.
No.
This is a little bit of significant braking, and it continues all the way through the corner, all the way down to 3rd. And I like to go straight through here because I don't want to come back across the track. It makes the next turn tougher. So for me, I stick left there. A lot of guys track out further than I do, but I like to get this corner set up. And I'm immediately on the brake. I try to go to 2nd, and this is just dabbing brake. Right in the middle of those Audi signs is my turn in. And early is not good here, but you want to be early enough that you do not get into the auto. You know, the track out here, that's all you have. And anything further is going to rotate you much. As soon as you hit grass in this car, it's over.
Okay, and you do go down to 2nd in this car there, right?
I do, just for a second, just to help turn in. Most of my gearing I do late. I won't downshift until I really need to start getting on the gas with it. I'll let it stay in a higher gear. I don't mind the torque of the mid and low end of this thing. I know a lot of the really fast guys stay torqued all the way to the top of the red lights. But they're also driving too close to the edge for me to drive a 45-minute race that way.
Yeah, my little car, I'm in 4th through there. So it's definitely struggling a bit.
Yeah, you know, 3rd is fine. 4th is probably too high. But, you know, it all comes with what helps you rotate it in there better. Because I'm a right foot braker, I have time in between my gas and my brake. And that gives the car just another fraction of a second to sit down. I've never mastered left foot, and I was raised with a 4-speed with a clutch. So I have never learned a left foot brake, and I'm not going to break my habits. I'm just fine. But it does give me an advantage. I save a little bit of gas, I save a little on my tires, and I also let the car coast and sit, and it makes for a more comfortable drive to me. You know, I really like to finish the race with as little incidents as I can. I'd rather have a fight in 14th place than one heck of a race in third where I end up in a wall. But I count the poles on here again. They're tough because they come all the way from over the mill sign up in there. But what I really sort of judge is where it drops into the downhill. And as you know, as soon as it drops into the downhill, it goes off camber. So you start losing everything. So trail brake into here, or what I do is I coast. And depending on the gearing, you can stay in fourth, or you can rev it up into third. But once you have the grip again, especially on your front left, once that's there, then you can get on it. But until then, the car is going to be squirrely. But I'll come from far left, half track, I'll come into apex right here. The stupid fast guys, the really fast guys, will go right up against that wall. And I carry a larger corner, so I carry a little more speed, so I don't have any problem keeping up with them if they're trying to make it a sharper corner. I'm just making it a wider corner so I can carry another half a mile. I don't have any problem keeping up with them.
You know, actually, right about that spot there on the real track, there is a little sewer grate there. And it creates a little dimple in the pavement. And often the feeling I'm looking for is just touching the edge of that, and that then puts you in a spot that you're relatively close to the wall, but then it gives you a straight line coming out. So there's just that little moment you're just trying to feel for it, and it's a little sewer grate that happens to exist there.
Oh my God, that's perfect. Yeah, they need to do the rescan. We'll get the sewer port going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, carried all the way out. This gets horribly tragic if you're too far over the coping here, and you know it's not a problem of an off track. The problem is the minute or in other words, if you're still carrying load on your left side before this hill and it's too great of a load, and you get onto this strip, the second it hits a blade of grass, you're gone. There's no fine point to it. So I just err on the point of caution. I stay off of that. If I know I'm going into it, I just make sure I get back off the throttle. I just look way far ahead because everything comes up in this car really quick, and it's hard to judge, you know, the actual speed of the car because it's so quick, and it's nothing that I've ever owned. I don't drive an RSR. Although here I do. This again, like Liam taught us, we head right for the flag station. As we crest the hill, I'm braking before that, and it's a soft brake, and I'll carry mid-track, and I'll get right back into that section. There is what I'm looking for. Right up here, speed. I like to cut it right next to that. This I'll come to third. You can get on gas here. Car will want to track all the way out, which is normal. Off the throttle, fifth, back on. As I carry it around, I will go to one here if I'm in a race situation. If I'm going slow enough, first gear is fine. Second gear might slow you down there. It's all about analytics. I don't think at the end of the day, it really depends on your setup and what you like to feel. Second marker, back end unloads on me, which I love the feel of.
Yeah.
Down into third, real low revs, middle of the billboards. Third, here's my braking. Fourth anyway, as I can. Just right up, touch a brake. Bring it in, back to full throttle. Carry it all the way through if the car landed good. track down to third. Find that cutoff point.
Okay.
Back across. Lift fifth. Back to full throttle. No brake needed out there. If you get the rhythm right, it'll flow. As car drops well, you'll have good passing possibilities up into gear. People tend to race each other into a corner, which means you've got the advantage coming out. Slow in, fast out, and any racetrack is good. Any Porsche, it's key.
Yeah. Okay. On your mic, do you use button to talk, or you just do voice?
Right now, I'm not on voice activity, but I've got a button that I can push to talk, and I have another button that leaves it on.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering how you're maintaining that finger on the button.
Yeah, make sure yours is on just voice activity right now. That way you're not having to do all that. Inside, close. This is all full throttle. And of course, we're on the high downforce setup.
Yeah.
Car bounces around a little bit, but you can feel every little corner with it.
The baseline for RSR is high downforce then.
They've redone some of their setups. So there is a baseline that is just baseline. They have another one that says baseline low downforce, baseline high downforce,
Okay.
and medium downforce. They started playing with setups. It's nice. And I loaded the baseline high downforce and did that little bit of change. Second pull. That's really a minimum of brake. Ride that up. Not afraid of the curbs if I hit them gently. Right to the edge. Those really make a difference. Slow throttle application, slow brake application. Everything is sort of minimalized. And once you get the rhythm, instead of just putting the gas down, you're really applying your weight shift. And you're working on your traction circuit, and that just makes it so much easier.
Right.
Finish this one off. Wherever I come out of there, I mean, I'm looking over my shoulder if there's other people, but I'll aim for the blue signs or the blue flag station on each one of these, just to do the same thing every time. So it's all about repetition.
Okay.
It takes a bit of time to be able to place the car exactly where you want every time,
Right.
but because you've got some experience in real life and car control and all that, it should become much easier. It should come easier for you than it is for somebody who doesn't understand traction circle and those type of things that make it a challenge sometimes.
Okay. So I'm going to pop out for a second to switch mine over to just voice. Just give me 2 seconds. There, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now I don't have to worry about pushing the button.
Okay, but here is the question. Why did you have to disconnect from iRacing? Is it
Oh, because I have everything all on it's not on a different screen. So I have the 3. And then one thing I find with iRacing is if I tab out, then I get the annoying bars at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I haven't been able to figure out a way to get rid of the Windows bars across the bottom and stuff. So anytime I have to change something, I end up exiting out. It's a bit of a pain.
Oh, that is a pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question to ask someone when you get into a group event with a bunch of us or search through the forum. Somebody might have a key to that. Mine's always I'm running the VR, so all I do is take the helmet off and I can go leave whatever window open I want. It's
Okay.
nice and easy on my end, um, just for that being a difference. But yeah, I can see how that can
Yeah.
throw you.
Yeah. Yeah. At the moment I alt tab, all of a sudden it kind of loses itself, and then it gets displaced, and I get those nagging bars and stuff. So
Oh, that's a pain.
that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It's
Yeah. But I'll
windowed
figure it out
mode
one of these
versus
times.
something. Somewhere in the
Yeah.
INI, somebody's got a hack or a
That's
trick
it.
where they go, "Oh, that should be 1 instead of 0."
Yeah.
Then
That's
you've got it.
exactly.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
Okay.
I'm
So
going
I'm
to
back
jump.
in.
Yep. I'm going to jump into your car. I'm going to go down to cockpit view. I am now in your car. It is alive. I can see you left and right.
Okay.
Turn off everything. So, you now, as my student, sir, are driving me around.
Okay. So we'll head out.
And it's a little discerning at first being in somebody else's car, isn't it? In the driver's seat. It's just different.
Yeah. And I have all my sounds and stuff kind of turned down, so a little limited on hearing some stuff. So.
Gotcha.
I took that a little hot there.
Yep.
Oh,
Do yourself a favor. Just click reset because it might have already messed up steering.
okay, yeah, looks like
Looks
it
like
did.
it did. Yeah. I can
Yeah,
tell from
may
here.
have.
Luckily,
Okay, there
we're
we
all
go.
insured. We've got a 6-point harness. On.
Yeah.
Are you wearing your helmet right now?
Yes, I am. Okay. Yeah, the biggest thing I find jumping from car to car is what the braking reaction's like compared to one to another.
Yeah. The ability to weight shift and braking at a specific threshold are the
Yeah.
two things that change dramatically from car to car. When we get into a series that's running for a while, I tend to stick in one car, but then it's really competitive. So I don't mind putting the work in, but in the meantime, I'll switch back and forth. It just takes a few laps.
So you do come down into second here, I guess.
Not for long, just to help the turn in, really.
Right.
I don't want to get too hard on the brakes. It takes away your turn in. It's one thing we teach. I'm sure you do as well as string theory with the steering wheel and the gas pedal and so forth. You can't have them both down at the same time. You've got to give up one for the other. That's your whole intent to open the wheel up, get on the pedal. The further you go out on the top of the table there, the easier the turn in is.
Yeah, I don't think I'm coming to the outside enough because I'm getting a little laid back on the throttle there.
I feel the back end swaying around, guys. had to back off the throttle that little bit so you didn't drive
Yeah.
out too far. Those you just get used to. You know the line. That's
Yeah.
obvious.
Yeah. Well,
And there's a difference braking in a lower gear than there is in an upper gear.
yeah.
And sometimes it sits down really good, especially the cup car. If you've got a second gear corner, I don't get out of sixth until I'm almost, bogging the thing down, just because it slows so much nicer in the top of a gear sometimes, or in a higher
Yeah.
gear.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get the Fanatec pedal system, largely for what I'm hearing from people is just for the brake feels that much better.
Right. I'll tell you, for $100, the Rick Motec mod, I've introduced a lot of people to it. I use it myself for a number of years. It's just,
It's worth the money.
well, yeah, I mean, it replaces the potentiometer with a load cell. And you don't
Okay.
have any more pedal throw. In fact, you have a little bit less, and it's pretty rock hard. It's like 45, 50 kilograms of pressure on the thing. It's a pretty stiff pedal, but all of a sudden your right leg says, oh, it's pressure, not ankle angle.
Right.
It's a difference, and that all of a sudden opened up. My brother still uses it. It's a fantastic, easy, quick mod, and it's a cheap way to get a load cell. And it's by far really nice and easy. I don't recommend any gear high enough. There's some fantastic stuff out there. But for ease of money and price point, nothing wrong with the pedals you have except the brake. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some guys are really quick with the exact setup you have right now. Really. But the minute I went to load cell, it felt like it didn't feel like a brake pedal, but my right leg said, ooh, it's pressure.
Right.
And that made a difference. That's from a real-world driving experience. I never replicated the longer throw of my analog brakes.
Right.
Still can't, but I'm not going to spend $1,200 on a set of one single brake with a dual master cylinder. Still less than a set of tires. I just don't know how expensive.
Yeah. But this car feels pretty good.
It's a wonderful car to drive.
Yeah.
It really sits down nice. It holds its shape. It'll slow so quick. Look at that. It just sits right down. Nice.
So how many of these do you do in a week?
I join in on the Monday and I run the Monday DE class we do. And I'll usually join in on Wednesday and run the prelude. And then Friday I'll do the race, and that's just with our Zone 1. And I try not to do a whole lot more because it could just be time consuming. But I'll take a one-on-one student out every 2 weeks. We average about 4 to 5 requests per week. My main duty is getting them assigned to an instructor. If they're not in my group, then I gladly hand them off to another CDI from Reason Toter or wherever they're from.
Okay.
And we can hook them up one-on-one with someone from their area because they'll be in their races. And it's in my interest to make sure that once that relationship is established, that you can always talk to that person again. I don't want to get an instructor from California doing a New York guide. They're not going to be on at the same time.
Right.
So, proximity and attitude as well. We've got a lot of guys who are, chief driving instructors in their region, and they miss the opportunity, but some of them want a challenge. Some of them want to help somebody get that last 0.2 of a second down.
Right.
And they miss instructing, so, they enjoy it. So when I find a cup racer or a club racer that comes in real life and he wants to get his feet wet, those are the guys I send him to, because then they also just, you don't have to sit there and say, what's a blue flag for?
Right.
Although we do those, and we do those classes, and our DE group class is a little bit nonchalant, and it's a little bit boring for the guys that know how to drive, but it's an exercise that everybody can get involved in. I hope the newer drivers show up more than anyone else. But I also want to give the guys who are particularly slower or not used to the track some time to work with it before the race on Friday. Topping out in fourth. So as you're coming down into, oh god, before Mosport.
4?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.
As you're coming down into there, just do the pedal thing. Drop off the gas, click it to fifth, and get back on it. And
Okay.
just that little bit of weight will throw the weight back onto your front right tire. It'll dig you into
Right.
that a little further, and you'll get
Okay.
a straighter shoot down in between the rain guard.
Okay.
It really shoots you down with it. You did a good job getting back to that. So many people will just keep going. That gets bumpy right at the end of that. Usually more.
Yeah.
But just like in real life, the minute you can start to place the car exactly where you want it to be placed, then your speed starts getting going because you're doing
Right.
the same move every time. Consistency is absolutely key. Yep, pause, into fifth.
Oh, locked up a little bit there.
Yeah, I usually do the pause as I'm coming over the hill.
Okay.
And I don't really toss the car in there, but from the right side to the left side of it. I don't rush that corner because there's some really good yaw that you can get in the car that will catch the car on the way down the hill. And
Yeah, there's tons of camber in that corner there.
yeah. And the compacting of the car on the uphill.
Yeah.
It's a really cool spot. No reason you can't go into fifth right here and do the rest of that run in fifth.
Oh, yeah?
To 3, yeah.
A little wide there.
Oh,
There. Oh, no.
so part of the trick, if this thing jumps off track like that, if you don't get on the gas and you don't get on the brake and you just let the thing roll, you can somewhat steer out of it.
Right.
It depends. If you're going into the wall, you're going into the wall.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do. If you can ride it a little easier as long as you don't have any real pedal in place.
Right. Just try to coast it through.
Yeah, it's really about maintenance at that point. Can I get out of
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought maybe I could skim just past the wall there.
Oh, yeah, I was hoping as well. I'm ready for the new scan on this. I'd love to see the new runoff at the end of the long two there.
And the whole thing was just repaved this past year.
Right.
It's all new pavement. So all the little bumps are gone.
Yeah, we're waiting for them to rescan Watkins as well. This car just gets up and goes really quick.
It sure does.
The hardest thing in this whole sim world is judging speed.
Yep.
And because this one's unforgiving, it's accurate. And I wouldn't do any of this in my real car. I wouldn't come close to these corners or these speeds.
Yeah, you have a 930, right? So
Yeah.
no.
First off, the car wouldn't make it. Number two, I would never drive it what looks to be 110%
Yeah.
in real life. I'm just too chicken about my own skin, so I gotta make sure I'm semi-controlled. That's a little more down. Let me jump back out of this one.
Sure.
We've got good times. I'll show you what I mean by a couple of those.
Okay, so And there, I'm in live. Yeah.
All right. Get this. Depending on the gearing of the car, I don't mind going into, I think this one's fine in fourth, but I can even get into fifth here. Because I can carry it all the way, but it means as soon as I straighten out, I've got to brake really hard for this.
Right. Yeah, the gearing on this track feels like you could be playing between 4 or 5, depending on how the approach has come in or out of a corner.
See, if I go late on it there, I'm all the way on the inside.
Okay.
It's really about being late on the apex. And I know it's blind coming up over that hill.
Yeah.
Really,
So you're kind of doing it more at the hump at the top of that hill.
Right. I get my car starting to move in that direction so that once it gets lightweight, it starts to rotate a little more.
Right.
And it pushes it all the way out to the midsection of the track on that first part, which will let you get down that little rain gutter dead straight. And that's a good point to catch people, because you can still keep your car sort of in it.
Okay.
This is lower gearing on this car than I had before.
Yeah.
So it's still in fourth. Done this track and park on that a while. Up into fourth gear here, all the way over. Lift, fifth.
Okay.
See how far to the left I got on there?
Okay. Yeah, so you're going a little bit deeper at the top and then cutting in on that banking there. Okay.
Yeah. It just gives me a better line down there. I can carry the speed further down, and I don't have to slow much to get that corner going. I'm not on the brake.
Yeah.
I'm really just breathing on it so that my car self-rotates, puts the weight in the proper spot, and then I can get back on it really early. So I'm on full throttle going back down the end of that hill.
Right.
And a lot of the guys I'm racing are on the brake. And they haven't got time to get to the throttle. I'm on. And I'll do some of the same here. There's third. No brake. Fourth gear.
Okay.
Smooth all the way out. Touch a brake. Stay fourth. Back to gas. Now it's full. I try to go just half track there.
Just half. Okay.
I haven't found any real advantage going any further, and I find if I open up that hole, someone's coming in there. There's that lift. Yeah. I'll go fourth, third, second, and then into first.
Okay.
So obviously know the track and the line, and the car's one of the more simple Porsche cars we have in the series, but it becomes really fun, especially when you get 50 guys here fighting for position. That's just awesome.
Yeah, I found the GT4, the Club Sport, pretty unpredictable at times. I played around with it a little bit. It's not a very forgiving car, that's for sure.
No, it really isn't. We played around with it. I held the big sign off last night. Here, let me jump back in the car.
Sure.
We did a big sign off session last night with a bunch of new drivers that we wanted to get into a classification because they'd been here for a week or two and they hadn't gotten signed off. We've been doing all the holiday stuff, so it was important to me that we had 126 new drivers that weren't classified. So,
126.
yeah.
Wow.
So I grabbed about a half a dozen instructors and myself. There were 7 or 8 of us, and we held a mass meeting with about 30 drivers at Lime Rock in the GT4 baseline setup, and went at it. Got them out on track, got them going, and then we went one after the other. Each instructor took a pair of guys, and then we switched and took another pair of guys, and then we switched and took
Okay.
another pair of guys. And we got everybody signed off because, you know, we had gotten too big, too quick, and we had too many people looking for a ride-along in all sorts of different zones, and we had stopped doing my national program. So I said, let's actually run a couple of these. And we got a bunch of people in, a bunch of them signed off. Yeah, that little grab that your front right will get that hooks you right down into there is what I look for myself. But it was nice. We were able to get everybody signed off. But we were back in the GT4, and it is harder to drive than this car is.
Yeah, I found, it's pretty unforgiving.
Not as easy. But on that car, weight shift is tremendously important.
Yeah.
It's all the way out.
Oh, messy.
Yeah, it does put you down there a little quicker. So you have to be ready for it once you've gotten the car to land, and before the compression is when you can start to draw on your brakes. You don't have to be real stabby with it at that point because you've got that uphill down so slow as well. You slow that really good. But you can carry that speed back down the hill, and it's starting to work good. Jump into a different camera just so you can show
Sure.
that. Chase is a good view. I really like chopper view. It shows you a really, really good vantage point from the top. Nice corner. When you take that corner right, it's just a big round corner.
Yeah.
You know, that whole sharp point, you only come next to it, the absolute little bit of that apex. Otherwise, you don't pay attention to it at all. It's just a big corner. And as you know, all the corners, the bigger you can make the corner, the more you can open up your wheel, the more you can put your foot down. It's a faster corner. Nice, right up to the edge. Right to the edge.
Oh, locked up a bit.
Which one, do you know? I'm in a helicopter view, so I couldn't tell. Which one of your lights went on?
You know, I don't remember which color it was now. It's a good question.
Yeah, you can always look back at a replay sometimes and go, wait, where was that? Because you can move your bias around so that
that's true.
It favors where you want. And even if we lock down the setup, brake bias is still an open setting. Thank goodness for that. Because it's such a personal preference. I've got a lot of guys that run with a lot of front brake, and I grew up with a 930, so mine's all rear brake and rear weight exaggerated. It's just how the car turns in good.
Yeah, I thought it was all blue, but that wouldn't make sense.
Well, the all blue would be, yeah, would be the traction control.
Yeah, so in there, so it was purple from outside in.
Okay, so if it
I, c-
was
I-
purple and it looked like purple on the right-hand side, so it was your front right tire that was locking up.
yeah.
So you can afford to click brake bias rearward 1 or 2 clicks and see if that helps out.
Okay.
I don't always judge on a straight line. If you come in here and lock them up at the end of Ray Hall here, uh, if you lock them up in a straight line and see which one hits when, you should be able to, with enough practice, modulate your brake and get one set or the other into ABS
Right.
and out.
Okay.
And when you can do that, then you can start judging where do I want to put my brake bias depending on where I'm seeing my lights and when I'm seeing.
Right.
There are places you're going to see that regardless. Go ahead and throw that information out. What you want to do is say, okay, if that's getting you on the uphill there, that's your front right getting
Yeah.
too light. Put it towards the rear until the back one just chirps a little, and then you've got a better brake bias for that particular corner.
Right.
And you can't go through and change it for each and every one, but find out where it's comfortable for you. Some people want a car that turns in better. Some people want a car that tracks out better.
Okay. Okay. I wouldn't have known the color system for the lights. So, but yeah, so it's the purple tends to be the common one there.
Yeah, purple is the front. From the
Yeah.
outside in, that's the front. So yellows is rear, and it's like that in the Cup car as well. All of those are really good corners.
Corner 1 and 4 are my favorite corners.
Nice.
3, I can leave it every time.
I can too. It's just, I'm not as consistent as on 3 as I would like to be.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, I carry just a hair more in. There you go. That's accelerating all the way down it. So you can work up to a point where you can, some guys stay absolute full gas on all of 4. Over the hill, into the whole portion of yaw, and back down the hill. They can stay wide open on the throttle. I tend to like to have a more stable car, especially coming into
Right.
most corner. So many things happen there that go bad. I'm going to give up that 1/10 of a second because to me, at least, I'm going to feel safe every time.
Yeah.
And I don't need to be first. I'm totally happy with any position that keeps me on the track.
Well, it's nice to finish too.
It really is. That's great load up on the car. I'm in the chase view right in back, and you can see the back end just sitting down and taking acceleration to it. It's nice. There, it's hooked up. Nice. I'm sure some of these lines are definitely different than what you would drive in real life, but the intent is the same. Where does
Yeah.
the car get grip? I mean, I haven't
Yeah, not
driven
very
the
different.
RSR there.
Yeah, not very different. Of like some of the lines you would take, I'd probably tweak a couple small ones of, mostly just has to do with the car itself.
Mhm. That was nice. It is tough to get right next to that curb on the right without hitting it. Just another 1/2 inch up into that curb and,
Yeah.
and the car starts to get unsettled. very nice. Yeah, that kept on. It kept you on the gas that whole time, really.
Yeah.
Just that pause to pedal it. You know, that's an old dragster trick on the quarter miles. If their car's starting to get away from them, they pedal it. You know, they pedal through the gears. They shift gears, but only without their foot on there, so the car gets back to maintaining its stability and its positive traction. Yeah, you see how unsettled that gets? It just bounces.
Yeah. It bounces around.
Yeah, some guys can carry it up in there. It's not preferred, you know, but because it's a sim, you can sort of get away with things that, you know, the ultra fast guys, they will practice a lot and they will exploit every little bit of track that you can to a point where it's just crazy. But you know, I'm not always racing those guys. I'm in it for my enjoyment.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting taking that a little bit deeper there.
Yeah, it tosses the car into that chute, sort of. I know some people take an early line into there, but I either have to turn too slow because then I have to get back to the left side to get up over Mosport.
Okay.
And I'll come at the corner on the right, but I'll come out of the chute on the left. It gives me a little more track to work with if I misjudged it in any way. But it seems to work. It depends on the car, too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of loading and unloading of suspension that you can do in the sim here. That takes a long time to do in real life because you're not carrying that much speed. You're not going that quick until you get to a point where you're that good at it.
Yeah.
But you can get there really quick in the sim. It's too quick for most people.
Oh, it's a little light on the brake there.
All right, here, jump back and get a fresh car, and I'm gonna jump out behind you.
Okay.
And get all over your rearview mirror.
Okay.
I won't go for anything of it, but this way at least you'll have a look of someone writing back. Yeah, I'm good anytime.
Yeah. Okay. There you are.
Yep. Put speed limiter still on. Now, this is something you can never do in an actual HPDE is let me chase you in the identical car.
Yeah.
You know, without fear of anything happening.
These tires seem to warm up pretty quick. Lap and a half, they seem warm.
Yeah, in qualifying, your out lap is going to be your, well, number one, it's not time lapped anyway, but it is in your best interest to get on it a little bit because you want to warm at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Your second lap is going to be your hot lap.
Yeah.
But that's also the one that you're going to keep in the bank if the other two go bad.
Right.
So you want it to be a safe hot lap like anything else. And, your second run lap, I go for it. If I can improve on it, great. If I have a 1X, it's not going to count my lap. That's fine. I've got one in the bank. And if one or two are good, I usually call it fine. I usually don't do all of them if I don't need to.
If you ever walk that back straight there, it's really steep. It's misleading how much of a hill that is.
Oh yeah, Lime Rock is a perfect example of it. The uphill is 3 stories, and you've got no idea.
Yeah.
Like I said, it just does not look like it. I think it would probably split the difference between on number 4 there, between where you were diving in at the beginning and where you're at now. You could probably split the difference. You seem to go, maybe it's too far out now, deep into the beginning of it.
Oh, okay.
Still see what's comfortable. There's no real written rule. If you carry the speed, it's the right line.
Yeah, just the way my brain's wired, it feels deep.
Yeah.
Car on your left. Clear.
I come across. That's a big uphill, a plateau, another uphill, another plateau.
Yeah.
Once we get into somewhere in this year, we'll be able to open things up on hitting some road trips. We do now have an iRacing rig that had been, but we sort of shut it down, had been going on tour with the Porsche Corral. And we were setting up a couple of rigs that traveled to the tracks and let people see what this was about.
Oh, okay.
So we're hoping to get that back into play, but we sort of need health and immunizations and everything else. Not to mention the whole new administration, so we've got a lot going on here. Let you get back around here.
Sure.
It's funny, at the end of our session the other day, it was all of our students had gone on. There was 5 minutes left in the session, maybe 10. It was a long session. We had to post 2 of them. We had so many guys showing up. And it was just us instructors there. Most of us hadn't even gotten in the car and driven around. We were all, consulting other people, driving in their cars and signing people off. And we looked up and somebody put in a really good lap time. And I got in the car, put in a really good lap time, and then our buddy got in the car. And before we knew it, all 6 of us were out there racing each other.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, that was a little bit better. I was carrying a lot more speed.
Car on your left.
Yeah.
Clear.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump back in your car. That was really
Sure.
good corner. You can just keep rolling, Doc.
Yep.
All right, I'm already back.
It was a little bit shorter, and I could feel there was much more of a chute that sent me down.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to find some of these things. Once you do and once
Yeah.
you connect, I mean, you've already got the racing in the brain and the telemetry built into your head of how much can you get with which tire. So that's simple. Now it's just connecting the little things per track that you wouldn't feel in anything else because it is a sim. So that's what
Yeah.
helps you around that corner. You go, oh, I get it, gotcha. It makes a world of difference of how realistic it is to drive. When things really click, it starts to build confidence and fun. And now you're not worried about car control, you're doing car control.
Yeah.
Yes, just that lift, there it is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally not using enough brakes down there now.
Yeah, you do have to get on them again. That's probably about 75, 85% brake down there. That's the only place I'm that heavy on it.
Yeah.
And with your spring, it's going to be hard to judge. You've got the other ones really, really good. I'm afraid with a good load cell pedal ride, dude, we'd have to get another class again for all you really fast club racers.
Yeah. It's a little wide. Take this one wide and bring it back here. There we go. Line it back up.
Yep, exactly. Not that I do not, I mean, I trust me, I have a lot of students who are pretty quick and good and so forth, but it's always nice to have somebody who gets it from the beginning. And that's just cool because it gives us a little bit of cred in the sim world. What we're doing in here is racecraft. It's just done differently.
Yep.
Yeah, now each time you're able to, as you get more and more comfortable with that corner, you can spend less time transitioning and pedaling from fourth to fifth. Pretty soon it's just going to be a click and a go. But like you said, that's going to carry you some speed down there.
Yeah.
And that's going to make your brake line different going down it.
Yeah, because the front right locked up again there.
I've got a rotating button on my dashboard or my wheel here that does brake bias. So when that happens, I just give it one click back.
Okay.
You can put that on your screen so you can get to it, but driving with the mouse is not always recommended, especially during the race.
You can map that to a button, can't you?
Correct. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
We always preach that the F3 screen, which is your relative screen, we leave that up. I put that right over the actual cockpit button box area. I put that right there because I want to see that. I'm not concerned with anything else. And then I've mapped brake bias, push to talks, and all the rest of this. I wanted realism, so I have a starter button and an ignition. Problem being is when you crash and it dies, you're trying to get out of someone's way, you stalled your car.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got to start it up again. But I mean, if you did that in real life, that's what you would have to do.
Yeah.
There's that familiar sound. That's perfect. And that one I always try to avoid because it's a smoother corner if you don't hit it. The really fast guys get right on top of it. And to me, it takes the balance of my car away. Amazing the downforce this car has to get around 4 down
Yeah.
into the chute, and then all that brake. You're asking a lot on a set of tires. I think all the zone runoffs, at least in our zone, is all in the RSR from here on out until we get to the zone challenge, and that's also the RSR, which is why we're sticking with
Oh,
that
okay.
car. But when the runoffs are done and the 2 championship races from national runoffs are done, and that's just zone against zone, class per class. So only
Okay.
4 of the pros, 4 of the clubs, and so forth are going to the last 2 races. But you can compete up until those last 2 races and still not make it into the last 2. So in the whole series, you're only missing 2, and that's just to watch the cream of the crop go.
Okay.
Per class as well. So there's 4 in the challenge class still going, and every zone gets to invite those 4, and then we run them for 2 last races all against each other, cheer each other on, see what goes on. We then start Series 6 with National, and that starts back in the Cup car,
Oh, okay.
and that's going to be, I think it's 7 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Cup car. Every Friday will be a broadcast race. That's where the guys you've never heard of come out of the woodwork and just blow everybody away. There's no problem on 3rd there on corner 1. If you're in 3rd and you're going down that hill, you don't need to get to 4th right away. If you head down the hill, do your pause, then click to 4th. It might be a smoother transition into that corner.
Right. Okay.
It just sort of feels a little rushed right now. Not badly or anything, just, you know, it feels like the corner is being anticipated rather than it coming to you.
Right. Okay.
Stay third, now 4th.
Okay.
Once it lands, gotta carry this. Once it lands in there, then you can click into 4th. So you can breathe that in instead of going all the way to the top of 3.
Right.
Breathe before
Okay.
it. But at the apex, at the top of the hill, as it starts to crest, is a great pause. It lets enough weight get down on your front left, get back into 4th, and get back on the gas. It won't be too torquey. If you stayed in 3rd there, it might be a little bit torquey, but the lower end of 4 is smooth, so you can get around the rest of those. Staying full throttle, it just won't be as quick.
Right.
Overall, it'll just be smoother, which leads to more speed.
Right. Okay.
You know, these are small things. You've got really good pace already. Good volume on the tires too. Yeah, that carries a bit more speed into that corner.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to adjust it just a little bit. You really can't get full on gas until you know the car's gotten its legs. But for each corner that you gain another 20 yards by braking further into it, or carrying another 5 miles an hour into it, you've got to adjust the in of the next corner because of that. So it's, you know, it's rewriting the logbook every time.
Yeah.
It can't be dissimilar from what you teach in real DE.
Yeah, like we find we spend a lot of time actually teaching like vision. That tends to be the biggest thing that we find improvement from. Like, you get them learn the line and stuff, but then the rest of the time it's a lot of time on just vision. Look for the blue roof. Look up, look down, across the track, look for, down the next section.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's part of our
Yeah.
That's part of our routine when we do. I call it divided highway, and I make everybody run an inside or an outside, and we run the track at 3/4 speed, and we run it side by side because a lot of guys don't have a single screen; they can't see that guy on the right.
Right.
And I want them to get used to just an aura of somebody's there, and if somebody's there, put a dotted line down the half of the track. You can't move past that point.
Yeah.
Be nice enough to let somebody be there. But it's all about heads up. How far down the track you're looking and how close around your car are you doing. Even at Lime Rock, short course, every time I go down San Posey Straight, I glance at every one of my dashes, every one of my dials. It's just happening. I check the flagger, I scan from left to right through my dials, I look back at flagger, I get out of the braking three. It's, I'm always going to do it. I had some good instructors who were, it's not that they were hard on me, but they were good instructors.
Yeah, you instill that discipline.
Right.
Like the moment you're coming out of 4 here, you want them to look for that flagging station. You're focused on that. And up here, then, you want to be looking, to, corner 3.
Right.
Where's that blue roof? What's happening down there?
Yes, exactly. What's happening down there is a huge key.
Yeah.
So for here, you're looking out into the distance to see if there's smoke rising up from this corner.
Yeah. Or even like the moment that you come up here, you want to see who's coming down 4.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you see 3 GT3s coming, they're going to catch up on you pretty quick and, know what's coming around you.
Yeah, situational awareness is absolutely the key to any safe driving. Unfortunately, because you can't get injured on here, like I said, I would love to hire somebody to hit me with a baseball bat every time I hit a wall. I would not hit that wall anymore. But we don't have that, so it tends to get away. We'll have accidents almost every race, definitely during the practices, because we're encouraging people to try things that they're maybe not capable of yet, but we want to push.
I found going to 3 monitors made a world of a difference.
Nice, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The more visibility you have, the better it is. I went from the single screen to the VR, and it doesn't broadcast all that great for the stream we're doing and so forth because it's locked to just my left eye, so it's got a lot less vision than I can actually see. But I could look around the car. When I move a dial, it moves on the dashboard for me. I'm always tempted to go move the air conditioning duct just up a little bit. All of a sudden it's 3D and I feel like I'm in the car, and that's when it clicked and I said, oh my goodness, this is a world of difference. But I went from 1 screen to that, so I'm sure if I went from 1 to 3, I'd go, oh my goodness, how fantastic is this?
Yeah, you can look around the corners.
Yes. It's so important. Eyes up, eyes ahead. And these are things that I got from my instructors through my education, and I'm a person who listens. I also teach some audio classes from different countries here and there I go into and teach some of that. So I've got classroom experience and I sort of enjoy it. I've got good patience, but I also really like to see improvement and I like to help. So that, it just makes me eyes on and ears on getting things going.
Whoops. Hit the inside of that corner. It's a pretty steep one.
It really is a steep one.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump out after you again. So just keep rolling around. You're 25 seconds back. You seem really, really well versed on. I mean, the track, you know it. It's one of your home track, but the car seems totally neutral to you and not any issues at all.
Yeah, it seems very predictable.
It is a relatively simple car to drive. To drive it really quick, takes some good seat time.
Yeah.
But you have seat time in real life. And that transfers really well. You can't replace one with the other. You definitely can't give any credibility from one to the other. But for so many years, the sim community has been, on the receiving end of type of ideas. But it's really advanced to a point where it's catching up, and it's a fairly viable driving experience.
Yeah.
45 tracks on here with people at a similar pace, and you cannot wipe the grin off our faces. It's fantastic. One of the biggest things I learned when I had instructors driving with me was, even if it was track out or it was my cool down lap, stay on my line.
Yeah.
Drive my line every single time. And if you come up in the corner and you've blown it by braking late and your turn-in's all messed up and your track out's all messed up, throw it away, but then hit the next one correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't just go down to the rest of the track or the rest of the time and say, I lost that lap. Nope. You lost that corner. Can you get that corner back? There's a way for you to get the corner back by getting on your brakes, getting back on the track, slowing down so the car can have enough grip to get back to the surface of the track. You're going to do yourself so much justice just in learning car control.
Yeah, it's not very different from golfing. If you have a bad shot, then you just shrug it off and move to the next hole.
Right. When no one's going to come to this track having never driven here before and be putting in the times we're putting in now. There's just no way to do it. So, they're going to work on learning the line, but they're going to perfect one corner at a time. And it's going to take a while because there's a lot of corners. They're not going to get it on their first time. Their first time here at the track, they're going to master maybe 2 corners. Next time they come, they're going to master another 3 or 4. By the time they come here 3 or 4 times, they've got a race line done. It's going to take that much time.
Yeah. Are there any races in? Is there ever races in the wet?
No, they do not have rain. They have somewhat of a functioning weather.
Yeah.
It does day-night transitions, all that. It does do completely foggy.
Okay,
all the way to dry to overcast. You can make it look like it's about to get wet. The track surface is modeled within temperature as well. So that's going to make a big difference. If it's a hot track or a cold track, they drive completely differently. Same thing with the weather. Everybody will ask when you post a session, what's the temperature, what's the track temp,
right?
What's the humidity, because they want to try to match it. And we went for a season, we had decided that we were going to go with completely natural weather. So whatever the weather was, it was. And it was able to change and so forth. Now granted, they don't let rain go. But the first time we did a broadcast, and it was at Mosport with the GT4, it was so foggy, the broadcast looked horrible because you couldn't see anything.
Right.
It was just bad. For the racers, it was sort of cool but for the audience, we weren't getting what we wanted. So we switched it to, it's pretty standard weather.
Okay.
It'll get overcast, it'll get a little dark. We'll do some night races, but we don't let it get too variable just because at broadcast time we're not going to do the fall.
Right.
It was fun racing at the fall. So.
Actually, only the few times that we've ever been not able to drive has been because of fog.
Too fun.
Yeah. Because with elevations, you can't see from one flagging station to another.
Oh, gotcha.
That becomes a problem.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Luckily, our guys here are not afraid of weather. Just digital figures that wave their flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. When we get into some of the beginner classes on BE or for national, I'll do some beginner classes and some advanced classes, and I'll split them up with instructors. And we'll do some beginner classes that start with a good hour of classroom, and we'll just share screens and go through what flag means what.
Okay.
We'll do, what's a full meatball flag, what's a black flag mean, how do you serve a pit time penalty, all of the things that you would want to do on an HPDE for the first student in your green group. It's always
Okay.
a classroom. We do that. Generally, we're not doing them on the zone side. I do them on the national, depending on who I've got coming to it.
Okay.
So we move and we tailor for the circumstances we're in. But for just the zone stuff that we're doing now with Zone 1, a lot of my guys are pretty regular real-life drivers. And very few of them need to know what the flags are or what goes on. And if I've got a new guy, I'll jump into his car and work with him during that event. And I'll get him up to speed even though he's not as quick on the track.
Okay.
I don't normally do my national eDE programs unless we're in a national series at that time.
Okay.
We have just done a team event that was hosted by one of the groups as a special. And it was Team RSR, 2-member teams at Spa in the afternoon. It was a lot of fun. It was our first team event. So I spent every Monday for 3 weeks because Zone 1 was on vacation. I spent those 3 weeks, Mondays, doing an eDE class on how to form a team, how to identify your team, put a paint number together for your car so you can be identified as a team. We put together how to name it, join the league as a team, how you can transfer drivers, go into the pits, who gets into the car, who can then get out of the car and act as your crew chief, change your gas allotment and your tires for the next run. All of these things we covered in the classroom and drive format.
Oh, that's really good.
And it was, every time we see the need for something that we haven't done, I jump in and start doing a DE just for that specific run.
Okay.
We still offer the one-on-ones and everything else, but every now and then I see the need for, okay, we're doing a team event, let me put something together. And I just grab all my instructors, and like we were telling Kathleen, they're all either a chief driving instructor or the DE guy from a local region and zone. Most of them have years of experience.
So you have 26 of them?
Yeah, we got to be about 25, 26 right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are the driving instructor for their zone, but because they can't get a student in the right seat, they're doing it in here. They're not doing it to replace the HPD, because we don't want anybody to think that, this is even close to totally separate worlds. But the racing is still very, very similar.
Oh, there we go. I was stuck in neutral for a bit. Uh-oh. Oh, you know what it is. I'm on a fuel.
Oh, no kidding. Hilarious. Well, here,
I was wondering.
There's only like 15 left in this. Let's see what else we need to cover, if anything, and so forth. See what's going on.
Yeah. There,
Personally,
so.
if you were a beginning student here, I'd be signing the logbook. You'd be good to go.
Okay.
Into green run group and in real life and so forth. But in sim here, even our DE program is also responsible. We're tasked with putting new drivers into a classification so that they're driving within the comfort and so forth. And you're either at club or you're at pro, because it's obvious there's car control, there's pace. We haven't seen you run on traffic. I don't sign people off on just a single visit with one guy. We'll get you to our Monday class and do some stuff again. And then we're going to watch for things like, how are you around traffic? How is your awareness? Someone comes bombing into the corner, comes really close to taking you out. Are you able to avoid that situation, get out of the situation, and not yell going, hey, what are you doing, you idiot? There's some real patience in the virtual world that we have to be attributed to. And we also, because it's the PCA, we want it to be done correctly.
Right.
We don't allow people to call out other drivers. If there's a mistake made, just own it.
Okay.
Walk right up. Dude, that was me. I'm sorry. I've apologized for moves that I didn't make. Someone hits me, I said, oh, dude, I'm sorry. I sort of brake a bit earlier there than you do. And everything's fine. We settle it off the track. And we keep it out of our conversation. And we also try to use a gentle language. You don't know whose 12-year-old daughter is watching this.
Yeah. Okay. And so when you run one of these sessions, you usually start, like the way you started, going over through some of the controls, checking a few different things, and then you'll take them out, them watching, you kind of do the track walk type thing, and then you jump in their car for a bit. Is that the typical momentum that you use?
That is the typical startup point, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
From there, we basically look for what a student or is looking to do. Some guys are looking to get that last little tenth off, and like I said, some guys are really still just learning the basics of how do I control this thing.
Okay.
Because we get guys who are brand new at this, and they just do not have. Not only do they not have their sim legs under them, they don't have the racing under them.
Right.
And we're sort of trying to teach the both of them, but we do always run through somewhat of a computer check. We want to make sure that your wheel is lined up, your pedals are lined up, and that you can see everything. Is your field of view correct? All these things are really important so that we know that when we're talking to you saying, that blue roof over there, if you've got all that stuff turned off on your display, there might not be a blue roof.
Right.
So, we just got to see where everybody is. We're not asking everybody to have a monster video card and so forth. You could look at this on your laptop without racing and get all these things going easily. But it's the equivalent of having a bunch of guys come around your car and do a tech check before they let you on track.
Right.
So we need that going on is one of the first things we always do. We always do a track walk just because we want to show people that there is a proper racing line. And there's a reason there's a line. And this is where everybody else should expect to see you. They, if you're all the way over to the right and the corner's coming up and it's a right, they don't expect you to come into that corner with any great sense of speed because you've got to now stay on the inside.
Right.
Do you know that? Okay, let's teach that. So that's part of our side by side when we get into the group. The group thing, we don't go as over. Um, we skim over your pre-check. I don't walk everybody through where is your volume
Okay.
set and so
Right.
forth. And we basically start with a track walk, and then we let everybody out on track for probably 35, 40 minutes to get some good track time in. We ask people to
Okay.
give a wave by, which is, you know what it all is, but you can't do
Yeah.
it well in the sim. So
Right.
some people will say, on my right, go ahead. And if you're on
Right.
iRacing radio here, yep, pass right. You'll
Yeah. Yeah.
see it's me, and
Yeah.
you can jump over to the right. Some guys can
Okay.
communicate that without having to say anything.
Yeah.
I run in the top of the pro class. I've never had to tell anybody I'm coming on your inside or let me in through the left. We know, but we can
Right.
also broadcast that move. But we're in the pro class. I don't expect us to have to be chatty.
Right.
But if you're
Okay.
in the challenge class or even the sport class, I really don't mind if you say, hey, I'm making room for you on the left, or I'm going to lay off the gas. I don't want them to go offline and lay off the gas. But if
Yeah.
they're going to and they say so, at least we know that.
Okay.
So any communication is okay, and we're fine with that. But we tried to do pass point, but it's just so hard in the virtual
Yeah,
domain.
it's tough. It's tough.
So
Okay.
we encourage that nobody does a pass into a corner. We try to make passes out of a corner.
Yep.
We teach a lot of patience coming into a corner. If you're right on a guy's bumper and you know you have pace on him, he's going to slow you down to the point in the corner where you can't get a run on him afterwards.
Yeah.
And you're never going to pace.
Yeah.
You're never going to pass him.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
how do you fix that?
Okay.
You slow down before it. So all of these things, I mean, we've got paperwork that we put together. Me and a bunch of the other instructors have gotten together, and we wrote out basically a lesson plan syllabus from top to bottom. And it's got
Oh, okay.
lesson plan 1 and lesson plan 2, and we all read it. We all pay attention to it. It's our guidebook, but because we wrote it, we don't really look at it or pay attention to it much anymore. We just know.
Okay.
It's just from experience. And the
Yeah.
same thing with the sign-off. I've got another bit of paperwork and what we're looking for from a challenge class driver. And
Okay.
some guys we haven't given a license to yet. They haven't shown that they can stay on track during an entire race. They're going to have an issue somewhere. Well,
Right.
if they've got decent pace and that only happens now and then, I have no problem with them running in challenge.
Okay.
But if they're all over the track and they can't keep it together for 2 laps in a row, 5 laps in a row, we're not going to sign them off the challenge yet. And they're
Okay.
going to go without hitting the national race, or they're not going to be able to get into our Zone 1 race because they're not classed yet. Or we'll let them into the race because they're relaxed races, but they won't get points. And,
Okay.
we let everybody know at the beginning, there's a good chance someone's going to plow into you today and you're going to go off track. Apologize already.
Yeah.
Just get it out of your system because it's going to happen. It's virtual. Not everything works great, and some guy might
Yeah.
not see what you're seeing. So we
Okay.
really get down to the nitty gritty of we look at the next class up, and number one, from that point, you've got to have solid car control, solid work on pedal works, solid eyes up on who's in front of you. You don't necessarily have to have pace. But now you're a contender. Now you can stay on track the whole time. You walk away with usually fewer than 5 or 10 incidents per race. And the incident count is whether you have an off track. And
Right.
that can be a 1x from a tire going too far over. Doesn't affect anything, but it gives you a 1x. Or 4x if you slide off and hit something.
Okay.
And
And what happens? What happens tomorrow? Like, what's the format of things tomorrow?
tomorrow is pretty relaxed. It is an open
Okay.
DE class, so I will
Okay.
take, if you look in league sessions for PCA Sim Racing, you will see the Monday session is already posted.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, you'll find it in leagues, and that's under PCA Sim Racing League, and it's open to everyone, but you'll see that mostly it's going to be just Zone 1 guys. 'Cause
Okay.
it's hosted by Zone 1, but it'll be under a league instead of a hosted. And
Okay.
we start out with the same way. We give everybody 5-10 minutes to get connected, get on track. We all get on Discord. How's your weekend? Happy New Year. All right, is everybody here? Great. We're going to do a car track walk. Everybody jump in my car. Here's my car number.
Okay.
We get everybody in. We do the track walk. At the end of that, we take questions. You know, I do a couple fast laps, a couple slow laps, make sure, you know, everything looks good, everybody's got it. The pro guys, if they join us, will probably just go out on track and skip it, but they're going to watch out for me on track.
Okay.
If somebody's running around on track and not paying attention, but I think they need to be, I can
Yeah.
black flag them, or I can pull them off the track, or I can just say, hey, watch out for us.
Oh, okay.
But we'll do a track walk for everyone that's interested. And some of our guys are really pretty pro, so they don't need it. But some of our guys really do.
Okay.
We will get that done, and then we'll start to go into a little more just, it's open track. Go ahead, work your line. But scream out. I might have 4 or 5 instructors there, and you can say, I need some help on the track. I don't know where I'm going. Can someone give me a ride along?
Okay.
That's an opportunity for my
Yeah.
instructors to get in with them and do just what we did today, but in a little more abridged fashion. They'll be like, you know, hey, you missed
Okay.
that apex every time coming into 4, lift for a second, upshift the 5th, coast down the hill. There you go.
Okay.
And we do that.
And how
for a
long
good
is the
chunk.
session?
The session.
How long's the whole?
The session is 2 hours.
Oh, it is 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do the 2 hours. We cover all that, and usually about that point, I pull everybody back into the pits, or I gather them out when they're out on track. And a lot of my guys now are really used to this. I'll say, okay, guys, time for some divided highway. Everybody get out there, and they pair up. And you'll see Aaron Ambrosino and Paul Soak get together, and they're already driving in a team, and they'll be 1 and 2, and we'll get another couple of guys behind them, and another couple of guys behind them, and we'll get 6, 12, 15, 20 cars all in a long row, sometimes scattered. But if you
Okay.
lose your partner, hit the brakes, wait, let them get back on track, and pair up, and run the racing line at a slower speed. But if you're on the right, stay on the right, the whole track. And then,
Right.
and then at the probably usually at the start-finish line, I want them to switch positions. And then the
Okay.
inside and the outside switch on there. They have to decide who's going to let up, who's going to get on the gas. Switch, get back right next to each other, and do that again. And we'll do that for 6 or 7 laps until people are not bored of it, but they have a
Right.
sense that, okay, it's a different line over here. The grass looks
Okay.
different, the turn looks
Yeah.
different. I can't make this corner the way I would before. We let them get quicker and quicker. Once we start losing people from the pace and so forth, the exercise has really played itself to the point that it's worked and everybody's got it. And then we just start doing some passing exercises, and we let people run back on the same race line at speed. But then
Right.
I want them to still stay together. If there's a quicker guy, I'll want him to slow up. And I don't mind if, you know, and I'll jump in there. I'll usually be in a helicopter view, and I'll go, you know, Chad, you want to mind lifting a little bit? Let's have Bob come all the way up to the top.
Okay.
And Bob will pass 5 cars. Say, keep going, Bob, but get in there before the end of the corner. Larry, if you don't make it in, just lift for a second. And Larry will go, all
Oh,
right,
yeah,
he'll
that's
lift and bring him
that's
in.
interesting. So you can use all these different views to kind of manage what's happening and kind of understanding how people are progressing and doing these
Right.
various exercises.
Yeah.
Okay.
During the DEs, on the Mondays, there's a good chance I've only gotten in my car to do a track walk.
Right.
I spend the rest of my time in chopper view, camera view, cockpit view. I go around and I watch these things. And if someone makes a really dumb move, I'm going to call them out.
Right.
But being who I am with the league and the management for DE and stuff, everybody's sort of okay with me doing that. And I'm nice enough about it. But I'll go, Bob, I don't know. Your wife would be really pissed. Look at all that insurance you're going to have to pay.
Yeah.
You know, and he goes, I know it was my fault. And I'm like, all right, as long
Right.
as long as Doug knows that, and Doug's like, yeah, he's okay. You know, and we
Okay.
group him back up and we get him going. But I can do a lot of observing from here, and half my instructors
Okay.
are going to hover over and watch how people drive. And that's
Okay.
how we're going to
And-
know how you're dealing with traffic. If you're like, oh,
Traffic.
I'm out of here. I'm just going to race my line, get out of my way. Well, you know, that's not what the class is for. I
Yeah.
mean, there's many other races you can join. This is
Yeah.
really to get to know your other member, your other region member, the other people who are driving in your class, and to learn the finer points of driving together.
Okay. And where did you say that it was posted, in what channel? Um,
Oh, you mean
or yeah, for tomorrow, the details for it.
uh, if you look in League, if you look in PCA
Yeah.
Sim Racing League?
Yeah. So I'm in PCA Sim in Discord, right?
No, no,
Oh. Okay. So that's why I couldn't find it.
right. It is. It is. If you click
Okay.
continue or what have you and go back to the
Yeah.
main page of
Okay.
iRacing, if you look up leagues,
Okay. I see it now. Okay.
and you'll see the two leagues that you're in. So you're in PCA Sim Racing League, which is the mother league, which encompasses
Yep.
absolutely everything. You can click on that and you'll see a Monday and a Wednesday for us. You'll probably see Tuesdays for Group 5 and 10,
Okay.
Wednesdays for us again. Thursday might be
Yep.
California Group. You'll see all those.
Okay.
And
Okay. I see it.
if you click sessions, then they'll list by date order.
Okay.
And that's the easiest way to get in. You hover over it and go, oh, okay, great.
Yep.
But what you won't see in there is Zone 1 races, which are done on Fridays. But we lock those out to just Zone 1 members. But because you're a Zone
Okay.
1 member, you'll need to go into Zone 1 League, hit sessions again, and that's where that will be.
Right. Okay. I get it
Right.
now.
All of the discussions, the, hey, what track are we doing? What time is it?
Yep.
That's all done on Discord. We
Right.
join the same channel we're in now, channel 1 or 2 or race channel, doesn't matter. We just jump in
Okay.
here. There's always extra channels, so if an instructor wants to grab somebody who's having some pace issues or they just can't, corner sevens, they're just nemesis, they can't do it, we'll pull them down to a private channel like this so that that instructor can work with them and he's not talking over everyone else. So we can still put people
Okay.
in a car without bringing everybody else with them. Not everybody has to go.
Right.
And,
Right.
we'll have guys that are running the line again for people who have just not caught where the flow is, and if they still want people
Right.
to ride along, or if they're not assigned a class yet, and I'll always make an announcement, guys, if you do not have a race class, give us a shout out, tell us you need a ride along, and we'll recognize a new name that hasn't gotten signed off yet, and we'll jump in his car and we'll watch him. And then they'll hand him
Okay.
to me, I'll watch him, I'll hand him to another instructor. And after that event, me and those instructors are going to go to another channel and we're going to discuss who and where did he, show enough promise to be
Right.
in club or sport, where's he going to go, and your reasons behind it. And then when I got 2 or 3 people agreeing, then I go ahead and send that class assignment out.
Okay. So the one on Monday and Wednesday, are they the same ones? Like just
No,
two different options, or
no,
'cause I see?
I think Doug just labeled them a little awkward. Monday is
Oh,
our
okay.
DE, and
Yeah.
Wednesday is the prelude.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because they both
So
say the eDE and Prelude. They both say the same thing. Okay.
I think what he
That's
did was
probably why.
he set up the server and he named
Right.
those sessions that, and then clicked next.
Oh,
So it started
okay.
going. So that's just a little bit of a misnomer, but it is a good
Okay.
catch. Monday is
Yeah.
just the DE. It's 2 hours. There is no race. Nobody
Okay.
has to show up. We typically
Okay.
get 45 guys.
Right.
Lots of people want to get a head work on the track. These guys take it pretty darn serious. They
Yeah.
have really good races on Friday. Wednesday is a prelude, so what it is I think it's an hour and 10-minute practice or so, and then there's 10 or 20 minutes of solo qualifying, and then there's a
Okay.
45-minute race, and that will take
Okay.
a pit stop.
Okay.
We limit the car to 50% fuel.
50%.
Right, so you
Okay.
can only put 13.2 gallons in the thing at any given time.
Yeah.
And my calculations come out, Mosport here in this car at 0.52 per lap, at a 113, 114 lap is going to be right around 21 gallons. So if
Okay.
you start with 13 and add 7.5 at whatever pit window you want to pick,
Right.
go in, do your pits. That's another thing we'll talk about is make sure you have your
Right.
wheels not checked because there's no need for new wheels.
Right.
You know, all these things are tires anyway. Wheels would be nice. You know, but all
Yeah.
those little finer things we go
Okay.
through on the Wednesday prelude, and there's no points on Wednesday. It's no stress. It's just let's get people on the track and do a practice
Yeah.
race, but it's a real practice race.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
Friday it locks down to just Zone 1 group only, and it's full race.
Okay.
But
Perfect.
there's always an hour before each one of those that we're open for questions. Anybody wants a ride along, anybody wants opinion or a quick classroom. If somebody's brand new, they may join us Friday, but they are part of the league. They're just not, you know, up to speed with us. We've got no problem jumping in with them. On the zone area, we want to be inclusive to the T, all over.
Right.
When we get the
Okay.
national series, we get more locked down to just class. We don't care about zone anymore. Then it's just class. And only
Okay.
the club guys can get into the club race. We post 4 different servers for each race so that you can't commingle. You know, and we'll have challenge guys that are beating sports guys and sports guys that are beating club guys. You know, there is some overlap, but we're only one zone. There may be some guys in California in the challenge group that are way quicker than the guys in our challenge group. So
Right.
it's really about the eDE team to sign them off and make sure that we feel that they're going to get a good race, they're going to get challenged, but they're also going to work within their pace. If they want to be a
Right.
little more relaxed mid-pack driver, we welcome that. I mean, that's our bread
Okay.
and butter. You know, none of this is too complex. We just want to make sure that we're available and willing to help whoever we can. Oh, that might have disconnected me.
Oh, yeah. Just a moment.
The session
Okay.
seemed to be, but yeah, and I recorded that as well. So
Yeah. This is really good. I really appreciate you taking